Yes. Okay, thank you. It's 7 o'clock. We will go ahead and reconvene or call the meeting back to order. For the business portion of it. First thing up is agenda consideration. Is there anything motion to accept the agenda presented?
I make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Bill? Aye. Christie?
Aye.
Ricardo?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
The vote for, agenda is as presented. We did not have public comments presented. So we will move right along to item number 5, which is board communication and board spotlight.
Okay,
Supposed to turn it over to,
it's Board Appreciation Month. A reminder of what school boards do. Create a vision for what students should know and be able to do. Establish clear standards for student performance. Ensure that student assessments are tied to established standards. Are accountable to the community for operating schools that support student achievement. Align school district resources to ensure that students meet standards. Create a climate that supports the philosophy that all children can learn at high levels. Build collaborative relationships based on trust, teamwork, and shared accountability, and are committed to continuous education and training on issues related to student achievement. I would like to begin with an expression of gratitude. You spend countless hours working as a volunteer to help the children and families of our community. You also serve the community in other ways, sometimes here on campus, or in Salem, or in places of worship, or a service to others nearby. You are wonderful, thoughtful, caring, and compassionate people who I am proud to work with and for. You are providing service for our district at the most challenging time in our recent history, and even when facing personal challenges, you have never backed down from your commitment to all North Marion School District children. You have helped plan the future, brought new bond work, and helped with a new vision of equitable access and outcomes for our strategic plan. We thank you for your commitment to our service, children, and the future. We are proud of each and every member of our North Marion School Board and for what they do for us every day. So with that, I would like people to come up and start with the students. They have recognition for you.
So on behalf of the associate student body, we would like to thank our school board for, being a part of our community and being involved in our student lives. So thank you. And of course,
AFP made them.
you guys made these? I'm gonna.
We need a photo. Sorry, this is,
They're so pretty.
can't miss these opportunities.
Yeah. So cute.
So we could probably do the whole, can we do the whole group or? Yeah. Lean in there, Glenn, like your friend. Oh, that's awesome. 1, 2, 8.
Middle school.
Good job. I have no idea where they all went. They're here somewhere. I believe. They're a little nervous, in my 6 years. Now, this is the first time we've ever had students here. And so let me just see if I can find them. I saw them there. I am so proud of these two students. I can't even tell you how proud I am. These two students are in our AVID class, and they're both in the 8th grade AVID class. Avid this year at the middle school is 65 kids strong. We're thrilled about that, and they, this is the first time they've presented in front of such a prestigious group. And so, although they're a little nervous, I can't tell them enough how proud I am of them. So with that, I'd like to introduce Christian and Uterin Delgado, their cousins, to present their little poster to you. Here we go.
This is a poster that our Avid class made, showing what we do in our classes of Avid, and the pictures that are here are some things that we do in our class and some trips we've taken. One of them is going to OSU for a trip to see a girls basketball game and to see around the college to see how it looks now. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of North Maine for supporting our Avid. And these are some of the things that some of the Avid students said. Because of Avid, I now have more confidence talking in front of people. Because of Avid, I now know how to be a good student and be organized. Things that Avid has helped me with are giving my grades up. It encourages me and it helps me forward looking for colleges and it gives me goals that makes me want to complete them. For me, Avid has helped me look more into colleges, let me know what I have to do in high school to complete my goals and get into a good college.
Thank you.
You guys slip in behind them. We'll get a photo.
We are so proud of you guys. Good job. You know how hard it is.
Turn this way.
You guys are doing such a good job.
And maybe you guys come right behind. Didn't think you were gonna get out of here. I didn't. All right. 1, 2, 3. Get a good smile. Got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys did a fantastic job.
Maybe it's good.
On behalf of the intermediate school, we have some cards that our students have filled out and signed for you and our appreciation of all that you do. We are just so grateful for everything and having you come to our buildings and seeing you has been a great boost to our morale and our kids to see you. Thank you.
And additionally, our theme at the elementary this year is, in support of our strategic mission and vision statement is to elevate. And we know that elevate means you can take something and put it in a high place of esteem, or you can take it from where it is and continue to build upon it. We have kind of this +1 mentality as our growth mindset. And so we have this elevate theme. And so we have some handmade elevate North Marion School District cool little bracelets for all of you. All right. So I'm just gonna pass it to Glenn. You guys are different ones. So find one that works for you, okay? If those folks that aren't here, we'll leave the bag with Superintendent Redwood. So thank you all for all that you do.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.
Come in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Perfect. All right, 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. Thank you.
You.
I'm sure you recognize back in the past.
unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And I think that perfectly encapsulates what a school board does. So thank you very much. And I'm not sure if we're gonna like cut this up and you get to take it home or pass it around to take turns. It's adorable. I love having it in my office today. Every time I looked at it, it made me smile. So thank you for all you do and all of your support for our students and families and staff. We really appreciate it.
You can pick that poster right in my name, and
Anybody wants to come take a picture?
Mhm. Mhm. All right, 1, 2, 3, got it, thank you. Sleep in.
With that, we conclude item 5.
Thank you, very much appreciated. We're very humble, and thank you for all the jobs you guys do, and on behalf of all the kids here, so. Definitely.
Five B session hasn't started yet. Do you have anything to add, Bill? On legislatively?
No,
Other than
the
session hasn't started yet.
today, the formed up today, one of the committees tomorrow. So, outside of that, no, for OSBA, we just lost our executive director, assistant director, who is now the governor's policy advisor for education. So it's great to have somebody who's an ex-superintendent, ex-teacher, everything in education really, as the governor's voice for education. The other things, that's kind of, we'll have a lot more to talk about next month.
Okay.
There's over 4,000 bills as of this morning. So, I pulled it up and I was
That's a lot.
like.
So I'll move on to 5C, which is our high school ASB representatives with an update on what's happening. Vera and Kevin.
Good evening, school board. I hope you guys are all doing well. We're here to give you guys our club report, just about any clubs that are going on here in the high school and what events they're having. As for ASB, last week we volunteered at the Aware Food Bank in Woodburn, and we were able to give back to the community by sorting items there at the food bank, as well as helping families take those food items into their cars as well. And as of right now, we are currently in the process of working on winter formal, which will be taking place the second week of February, and the dance will be scheduled on Saturday, the 11th. Tomorrow, we will be voting on for the winter formal court tomorrow during advisory for students to vote. And then right now, our class officers are working on planning for fundraisers for their grade. That way they can fundraise for like graduation, prom, and so on. And they are hoping to have their fundraisers at different home sporting events this month. And as well with ASB, we have been working on a display case that features all the different clubs here at the high school. And the display case is right in the entrance of the commons coming here to the Husky Den.
For Key Club, last month in December, they made and sold over 100 candy grams. That was a club fundraiser to raise money for Key Club. And that was kind of just a fun little thing before holiday break. And then they are currently looking forward to volunteering with Aware Food Bank, the same one that ASB helped out with, next week on Tuesday, the 17th. And then we're also having a school cleanup where members will clean up trash around the school on Tuesday, January 31st.
And as for FBLA, members are currently being registered for their FBLA Regionals competition that will be taking place later this month. Members can either take a test or participate in a performance event and perform at Canby High School on Saturday, January 28th. And then with our Big Brother Big Sister program, they will be going on a field trip to OMSU with their littles on Thursday, February 9th, with the high school student and then the second grade student.
For Metra, they'll be running the concession stands tomorrow at the home basketball game. If you're attending the game, please make sure to come and get some snacks to support Metra and fund all of their fun endeavors. And as for FFA, they will be having a few members compete in a public speaking competition on the 20th of this month. They will also be attending their district convention on February 17th, as well as attending a forestry career day on the 24th of February. And then in March, they will be attending their state convention. For drama, they hosted their annual White Elephant Party for some of their members to attend, and they had some fun and enjoyed some cookies as well. They just completed auditions for their spring show. It is a murder mystery at the Murder Mystery. They will start rehearsals next week, and the show will be on Friday, March 3rd. And Saturday, March 4th as well. As for Awesome, they are currently working on doing an art show and welcoming in students and staff and bringing awareness about mental health. They are hoping to have this art show sometime during April. For NAHS, that's the National Art Honor Society, they're cooperating with the carpentry class and the middle school as well to start painting a recess shed. And then they're also coordinating with the PTO for winter coloring book pages and other projects. And as for the prom committee, the junior class is currently working on finding different decorations for their old Hollywood style prom, which will be happening on Saturday, April 22nd at the Oakview Acres, which is just outside of Canby. For yearbook, they're currently working on finishing the senior spotlight section, which will feature seniors with a portrait photo, 3 baby photos, a senior quote, and family words of wisdom as well. And as for our robotics club, they will be running the concession stand on Friday the 13th for the boys and girls basketball game, on Thursday the 19th of this month for the wrestling match, and Monday, February 13th for the boys and girls basketball senior night. So if you guys are there at any of those sporting events, make sure to stop by the concession stand to support the robotics club. And then finally, for National Honor Society, they are expecting to welcome 30+ new members at the end of this month. And the members who are let in will be notified in the upcoming weeks. Do you all have any questions for us?
Pitch for the FBLA regional competition in Canby Saturday the 29th. If any of the adults want to be a judge Saturday morning, there's a lot of events covering schools all the way to the coast to Molalla and the whole northwest region. So we're looking for some judges. I forgot to mention, I judge every year, but this year I'll be in Washington, D.C. with OSBA advocating for funding for public education. But this is I'm looking for anyone who wants to help judge. I forgot to mention that in the last talk, so I'll also give a report on my trip to Washington, D.C. congressional when I come back.
Anybody else? Thank you. Sounds like you're busy.
Thank you.
Moving on to 60 is UNME leadership team. Do we have a report tonight? In person.
I'm Jan Jones. I'm the UNME IS representative.
And I'm Maria Cisco, I'm the secretary.
First of all, we would like to, we have the slide here. Can we go to the next slide? And the second, actually two
Just kind
slides.
of like skip
Skip through that one. And there, thank you. We're over the appreciation. We wanted to, again, give our appreciation from you and for all of you as well for all that you do. We really appreciate your support and your energy that you give to us and our district for our students and staff. Next slide.
Okay, so for staffing, we just wanted to share, there's a lot of great things going on. Teachers and staff supporting students, staff supporting staff, and that's just been a really good thing, getting back together and being able to support one another. So that's been going really well.
We're mostly speaking for the IS.
Oh, yeah.
We're representing IS, so, but we're hearing that, all over our district, we have teachers are supporting each other and the students, but I just wanted to clarify.
And at the intermediate school, the instructional coach, Deanna McCarthy, coming back after winter break, is now full-time in that position. And so we're very excited to have her in that new role. And there's a lot of great things happening in that. And so we just look forward to all the great things that are going to come out of that, having that support for the staff.
Just a little plug for our OBOB program, our Oregon Battle of the Books. We're excited to have over 32 students who have been participating with us since the beginning of October into September, reading 15 books this year. They did remove one that was not accessible, just couldn't get it, the copy that they had gone out of production. So 15 books. They're in teams of 4. We're getting ready to start our local battles in a few weeks. And they are gearing up for that, reading, and writing questions, asking questions, trying to stump each other. So we're excited about that. We'll end up with a local battle winner who will battle our teachers during an assembly. So we invite you to come to that if you would like. And then we will move on to regionals and see where we go from there, possibly on to state. So we're super excited and proud of our students for all the hard work during OBOB. Some things that we need a little more support. We still are, fighting that sub shortage. It's difficult to find subs when teachers need to be out for various reasons, sick, personal days, or PD, professional development. It's just difficult. It feels a little bit guilty to take a sick day if you're sick and stay home because you're not sure there's going to be anybody in your classroom. And then it leaves everybody else short that day. So really working on trying to figure out a solution for that. And we know that it's hard everywhere, but it just continues to put a little bit of a drain on staff morale when that happens. And it's not fair to our students. They need a person in there.
And at the intermediate school, we have a lot of fun with our heating and air conditioning. There's been a lot of work that's going on. People are putting in tickets because things are not going quite right. It's either too hot or too cold. And then there has been work being done, but it feels like we're in a cycle on this, is that work gets done and then it's not a lasting solution. We're kind of having the same classrooms having issues multiple times. So
it feels a little bit like a band and then falls off and we have to start over.
Communication.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, and just on communication, I think sometimes when it's a small district, it can seem like, oh, it's a small district, everybody knows what's going on. And there have been some issues in the past, and we just really would like to see a movement towards transparency in what's happening in the district, from the central office. There's been a couple of safety things or incidents around that people have found out just kind of like by word of mouth, and it just, we didn't get a clear communication from the central office on
More in a timely manner.
yeah, in a timely manner on things that were going on. So I think that's good. Yeah.
And would you have any questions for us to take back to our teachers or to our UNME board in order for us to get answers for you or bring back?
I don't know at this point, other than, we're gonna try and make an effort to be in the buildings a little bit.
We
more.
invite you, we want you there. We're excited to have our students love seeing and showing off for you, to be honest.
We don't want to impact your day with it.
It's welcomed and it was noticed. I mean, we've had several people say, it's been great seeing people in the building. So yeah, we thank you for that.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
coming and sharing with us, much appreciated. All right, 5E, we are acknowledging a high school wrestling tournament going on in Redmond on the 13th and 14th of January. We wish them luck and success there. Moving on to item 6, our consent agenda. You guys have had a chance to look over that. I'm not sure if who wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7. I'm not sure what kind of a report you have for us, Linda, other than what you presented us with. Or if you have any prognostications yet in this cycle of the year.
I don't have anything other than what I did give you here. And most of the business people that I talk to with other districts are as nervous as I am about where our funding will land for the 23-24 biennium. Because it's a new biennium, because we have a new governor, you just don't know. We believe we have the right people in places in TOSA and OSBA and OASBO that are going to work with the legislature to let them know we need more than what they're thinking they might give us, which is 9.5 to 9.8 billion dollars. And we know full well that 10 will barely get us there. And I believe the CSL is $10.3 billion. So we'll see where that funding lands and in turn what our share is and how we build a budget around it. Are there any questions for me?
Linda, would you tell people that are here what CSL means?
Bill, what is it?
First level,
Um,
the money estimated based on costs. And
Current
inflation.
service level, yeah, current service level. I couldn't think of current. Yeah, so if we kept everything the same, what would it cost every school district to do the same? So,
Thank you, Linda. Much appreciated.
Yep.
Anybody else? I guess that's it. Thank you.
thank you.
Next on our agenda is school operations and principal report.
We have to do that. Me, I just love this.
The best part of my job.
Welcome, and very happy to be here to present information about the high school. But first, I want to follow up with what the kid said is thank you for all your hard work that you have done for us and all the support that you guys do on a volunteer basis. And so I want to start off with that. But I also want to start off with, the work that we're doing with the strategic plan and our action plans and all the strategies that we are working throughout the whole school. And I want to share with you and highlight some of the important things that we have been doing here this year to get this plan going. So first, we began the whole time with coming back in the summer, and the administrative team got together and we were working on opportunities to take ownership and create our action plans. Not only with the ad team, but before school started, our instructional leaders, Mike Robinson, Kelsey Neiman, Holly Wagner, Ann DeShane, Trisha Stoddard, and Karen McGill. We all met and worked through our strategic plan and plans for how we're going to start the school and how we're going to work on our PLT plans so we can keep the plan moving forward. So you guys know these two ladies. So it's nice to have our student leaders and being involved in supporting with the missions and the goals. And we are blessed to have these two ladies here every month to share, especially what the students are doing and how nice it is to hear that we're coming back to normal as close as we can. And it's also, those are two that are giving the voice to you guys, but we have a ton of student leaders in all of our activities and clubs. And so I'm just going to go through and show you some of our highlights, and very small piece when you talk about the whole school. So the part about the community's engagement, we're lucky with our CTE programs to have our community supports and guides our programs. For example, GK or Habitat Humanities works with our welding and our shop. And so they're able to give us some guidance and provide tours for our students to visit the workforces. And so we're trying to really include a lot more field trips into those businesses so the kids can see that it's just not using a hammer and a nail. There's lots of areas of opportunities in each one of those areas of jobs. As I mentioned, we spend a lot of time on the theory of action, sorry. And we looked at each one of our goals at administration and broke down each action theory and then our theory of action and then created strategies. I'm not going to go through and read all of those, so you can enjoy that at your own leisure. But again, I want to highlight each one of our goals. So goal 1, when it talks about pre-K curriculum standards and instruction, our English department has diligently been working with their newly selected materials and implementing our recent adopted ELA curriculum. Annie Fail led the adoption process for our team last year, and now Kelsey, as the instructional leader, is leading the implementation process for our teams. We also have our math team is continuously engaging in high quality professional development. They've been working with the Teachers Development Group, and Thomas Black and Karen McGill are leading the curriculum review and adoption process for the team this year. And they are just doing such a great job and really looking at our curriculum as the whole department, even though they only teach certain topics, but they're looking at the whole group and trying to bring in the adoption that we best for our kids. For goal 2, for empowering the students to develop skills across the curriculum and to build confidence in their challenge themselves, we have lots and lots of examples of that. We acknowledge that all the staffs that lead these activities and clubs allow students opportunity to build the skills, confidence, and growth mindset of their chosen path. We know that students barely putting themselves out there in the classroom and in competition and in their performance. And so it builds up their confidence in themselves. For example, our girls wrestlers is our biggest girls wrestling team we've ever had. And our drama performance shining those examples. Our music is another place where kids pursue their dreams and goals and develop the skills to believe in themselves that they can do within their practice. And we want to thank all the teachers and advisories for their belief in them as they were going. And we've had some really good performances, to bring that all back and having to share with the community. Our mariachi group shared at lunchtime for our students, and that was pretty fun. Wow. Also, goal 2, our leadership students and advisory support students in developing skills to build confidence. And hopefully you guys have read this posting from Yadira for Promise of Promise of Oregon. I can't actually read what she said, but if you get the opportunity, please pull that up and take a look at that. It's pretty empowering. For goal 3, to develop and expand the percentage of staff who are skilled in use of culturally responsive practices that reflects the demographics of our community. We are continually working on that and working through that with the support of Bill De La Cruz and the work that we have done building relationships and to create the sense of belonging. We just finished our one of our last ones was just last week. Bill was here in person to run our PLT on that Wednesday. And it was really empowering to be there and being part of that. We also have Jason Olson, a bilingual staff member who joined our staff last year. And he's working with Anne Duchesne to support staff in developing strategies to build language skills with access to content across curriculum And so every staff meeting now, they are doing a mini lesson to our staff for strategies for ELD. And so we can see with our staff that it's not just offered in our ELD classes, it has to happen in all classrooms. And so we're providing the strategies for them to take back to their classrooms and use. And then also Jason worked with the after school for mariachi, and he was also part of our leader for the summer school program last year. And then last thing is, I'd like to thank you again for your leadership and service. So thank you. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you.
You gave her a remember what she wrote.
I know you're still here.
I do, I said that I'm the Thomas of Oregon because I want to be an example to low income Hispanic girls that anything is possible, and I would like to be an example by going into the journalism field and becoming a news anchor.
All right, item number 9, board action, this is related to policies. And this is for second reading and adoption, so. Chairman, better call the motion ready?
No, well, I don't, where do I say that I need to have more information on UCTV?
Well,
Is what we talked about, because you
You
said
can
it's between first and second, right?
Yeah,
Before we do second adoption.
you can make a motion to
Except,
adopt everything with the
Okay.
exception of that one, and then we could deal with that one
okay,
if you want more information.
yeah, so I make a motion that we accept the following policies: EHIIA, BBAR, GCBBB, IFE, AGBHE, JEA, JEAAR, KBA, KBAAR.
Okay, double check which one did you leave out?
Number 4.
No.
And that was the research, the optional one, where we had questions about parental components to it.
So is there a second to that motion?
So your motion was to approve all of them, but pull that one out for discussion.
You second that? Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion that we're dealing with, which is an approval of everything else with the exception of item number 4? Here, then we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So, we don't necessarily deal with that with the motion, but do you have specific questions you?
Yeah, I had talked to Ginger about, that I feel like even though it's in their typical procedure, when approving this policy, I really want to see something in writing about parental consent if it goes outside of the school district research. Documented.
Does anybody else have a motion dealing with number 4? Do you want to approve as presented, or do you want to work through, do some more work through on it?
Or you just want it in, parental consent would be required.
Yeah, because it's really the last sentence that says research, which is conducted by or for a non-district individual or organization, must be approved by the superintendent or designate, comma, or whatever.
Yeah.
And
parental consent.
And parental consent, because I feel like if we're giving it an outside, that's parents' rights to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we can just amend it with that language and then not. Not an issue.
So do you want to
I
make that
concur
motion?
with that, so I'll make a motion to take second reading and adoption for GC to be amended to add parental consent on the last sentence.
Mhm.
That done.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Maybe. Let me read it one more time, sorry. I don't like this. I guess I am concerned that. Like the parental concern also, like where are the individual right concerns and the IRB and all of that kind of stuff in there? Where is that in this policy? Like, what if a superintendent or designee is not knowledgeable enough to understand that when you are involving human subjects,
Right.
there are processes coming at you if it's a non-district. Where is that protection?
Well, the assumption is that someone at the superintendent level has had that level of education and has been doing that.
Is that a valid assumption?
Well, I
I
would say for
mean,
the most.
Speaking for yourself.
Yeah,
But I don't know, I don't know that. You know, if a third party approaches the district of, can we do this research in, and we don't know that that's a thing.
yeah. Well, in
That's-
most districts now, I would
Most
say
think,
that that's the case.
Yes,
Would it be like a safety valve language to include IRB that would be mentioned specifically?
well, I guess I feel like if that were a thing that people knew about, then a lot of these specifics that we're listing in here
Mhm.
wouldn't be in here. You know, we're protecting people's privacy. That's part of that whole approval process, right?
Right.
So if we comply with IRB,
Right.
half of what's written on this policy
It's already
page is gone.
Right.
So I'm making the assumption that somebody doesn't know what those rules are.
Right, and I think when I read did you see the response from OSBA about the question?
Yeah, but it didn't make sense to me.
Okay, yeah, it's, written to highlight that this was intended specifically for educators who are not doing doctoral research, or maybe doing like an action research project where they want to study how half of their kids do well with one thing and then half with something else, to compare them in a more formative assessment way than a really substantive study. So it's about that process more than it is about a formal National Science Foundation funded small research project where they're just grabbing data and doing a big quantitative stuff. So it's two different levels.
Yeah. But some of the protection should be in place, period, right?
Yes.
For-
Yes, yeah.
Right,
There
so-
should be, the person who's doing an action research project needs to understand
Right.
the potential negative impact of not doing research well
Mhm.
and harming children as a result.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm.
So I don't know, I just
Yeah.
back at that point. I don't,
If, we can then see how we.
I don't see what would satisfy my concerns, I guess. Without making it just really.
I would say, well, we're going to put at the end, and parent permission, I would say at that highlighted sentence that's highlighted in yellow. Privacy resolution and IRB process must be completed prior to any research. So,
So then with them, to your counter example, would that bind hands of other?
No, well, there, we could still insist on a IRB like, because if they're not in a doctoral program, if they're not doing, part of a quantitative study or whatever, they're not doing a formal IRB process, we can still teach them that what they have to do to protect the subject. I mean, it would be a good lesson for teachers in a world where research is kind of, it's creative and imaginative sometimes and not,
Yeah.
and not sometimes thought through well enough. It's part of the lesson for them to learn, but I think we can put something in place that allows teachers to be curious about learning how to do that and protecting kids at the same time. So because it's good for people to be thinking about studying the work that they're doing and thinking about the impact and
Sure.
looking into it.
Sure.
So that's a benefit. So how do we make sure that we do it well? That's on us.
So, well, there's a motion. on the floor.
There's a
With,
motion on the table,
with,
so-
with respect.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I talk to Ruth?
Yeah, I was just gonna say with respect, maybe a table until we have a chance to look at a few things a little deeper, so we don't put some language in that actually does affect our pilots and things like that,
Yeah,
we would want to get language right so that we could make it hard
yeah.
for teachers
Great suggestion.
to do actual research.
Yeah, I don't want to speed this up too much. So.
Was that a request from staff to withdraw the motion?
Yeah, or
The maker of
to
the motion was Bill.
table the motion.
Table it.
Yeah, he started
Okay,
it with
somebody
the.
else wants to do that, I'm comfortable.
Okay,
Data
so,
is valid, so.
well, it's up to you. If you want to keep voting, we can. What's
As,
that?
I'm still good with the motion.
Okay.
as it was.
So any other discussion on the motion?
Do we have a procedure in place already when they're doing this research? Documentation that they're following all the privacy pieces?
At this particular time, no teachers are currently doing research on students in school. However, we do like pilot studies for instructional materials.
So can I ask you,
Kind of like that, that's not even.
so how would
not
this
research.
be applied in like, when we did the ELA curriculum study and they taught one curriculum for like, I don't know, a certain extent of time. And then the other curriculum, the other extent of time, and then they cross compared with their students and the staff.
There's
Would that fall under this
Mhm.
component? Okay.
There's no.
Nor are we giving that information to the textbook companies or saying
Okay.
like, this is our, we don't give our feedback, but we would provide student data or anything.
It's for us.
But, and it speaks to what Dr. Rhodes is speaking to, like, student teachers as part of their EdTPA usually have to do some form of action research. It's not in the realm of, I think, one, the things you're talking about that would be concerning, it's not like publishable, it's more of like, I gave a test and I tried this strategy, what were the results? And then I gave a test and I tried this strategy and were they better? Is that kind of research, like, were my teaching practices making an impact, but then the student teachers have to learn how to like quantify that data and provide it back as part of their EdTPA, that goes to TSPC.
So, with an action study like that, where does that person use that data and where is it shared? And
The where is it shared would probably be something I want to do a little more research in. The data specifically is used as part of kind of their, for lack of a better word, dissertation that they give to their master's program to get their licensure.
and then, so as part of that program, somebody could say, this teacher was at this school in this classroom.
No, they have to change the name.
Yeah, and then it's identifiable.
They can't use student names. They can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would assume.
Can't
they
use
would
the
use
school
student
name.
names, but they can't use the school name.
Mhm. They're supposed to change the name. They're supposed to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that supposed to, where would a person conducting an action study find those guidelines?
That would all be part of, usually, the starting point would be through their university and through the TSBC.
What's TSBC?
The Teacher Standards and Practices Commission.
Okay. But so then that person would come into the building and theoretically with a process like this, have to get approval through you or your designee to do that work,
Ideally, yes.
meaning that doesn't always happen, or,
I don't think it's been required. I mean, that's why the policy's.
okay, so that, okay,
And so would they fall under the bottom one where it was like approved by the superintendent and instead of or, and then do the parental consent, so a parent would know they have a student teacher?
Yeah, and that's typically part of the FTP, like I wouldn't say typically, it is absolutely part of the FTPA process that they get parent permission. I know as a parent, I've received that when my students had a student teacher, like, oh, we're gonna be doing an action research about these things, are you okay with it?
All right, I can vote.
so, and then this goes into a master's thesis.
It goes into like an ed portfolio that you're submitting to TSBC,
Okay.
and then that's part of your education file. I don't know where it goes in. TSBC. But it's probably a question of pages. That they have.
So can I ask a process question? If the motion's not retracted, then we vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Motion's on the table and when the discussion's done, we'll vote.
okay, got it. All right,
Any more discussion? I need to do this, do I need to do this by? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
okay.
motion carries. With that amendment, no,
Yeah. it was-
Yeah, with
Okay,
the
yeah.
amendment.
so,
parental consent.
thank got that in. All right, item B is approval of 2023 through 2025 local service plan resolution.
I make a motion that we approve the 2023-2025 local service plan resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Is this a contractual agreement?
It will be.
With the ESP.
So we should probably note that it's with WESD, is
Yes.
that right?
Oh,
Okay.
with W, yes.
Since it's a contractual.
And this is actually the notification of the services that we
Mhm.
provide in, we sit down and we do the local service plan with them and we assess what our needs are. That's different. One of the things I would like to point out is based on the work that you have done in the strategic plan and the things that we're accomplishing. I have advocated for some things that I've highlighted on this list and they have increased the services they're providing as a result. Because it's not just us that needs these things, but others as well. On that list includes autism services and behavior services and staffing for that. Youth suicide prevention and services, I've asked for them to create a crisis response team rather than just doing youth suicide prevention. And it's more than that, it's that and family supports and things, English learner supports. And then also, as we see, we're tightening the belts and trying to figure out how to do everything that we need to do, plus all the business side, which we still have the same size office as we had, a decade ago, but we have double the workload. I have advocated for the ESD to increase their business services so they could be a contractor. We do that with the rest rather than us, we do it ourselves. And also for human resources services, because there's just not enough. If you don't have a human resources director in department, hiring, paperwork, staff morale, recruitment, all of those things that go into doing HR cannot be done piecemeal. So I like it, providing will be boosting the services. Well, that's right. So based on your work, and your needs, we've done some good work with the ESD superintendent. So make the local service plan fit what we're really looking for. So we're looking for your approval that this is the menu that we.
My motion stands.
If all the discussion's done, we can take a vote. All those in favor? Say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 9C, Board Superintendent Self-Evaluation. Couple things, the Board Self-Evaluation, we are sort of off calendar on that because of all the strategic planning work and finishing up contracts and all those things. So I think what I'm gonna do is send out a simple form of board self-evaluation. Have you do that, return it back to me. We will do a very brief, probably just a written report to present at our next meeting. And then sticking on calendar, you do your self-evaluation first, okay? And so just have that on kind of on your radar screen that process is going to be coming up here soon. I don't really have anything more to add to that at this point. So I think that probably brings us up to superintendent report.
Okay. Well, a couple of things. First of all, just notice that the upcoming topics, we have evaluations to work on. Next month, we need to present information about the integrated plan. We're hoping that if we have all the details together and there's no additional changes from ODE and we're ready to present it for adoption, that will give you enough time to review it before you do that, because you have to approve this one. It's for sure that the board has to approve it. It's not a hard and fast deadline, so if we need to go into March to do that, that's fine, but yeah, we'll start working on that in February. And then we'll also debrief the parent focus group, and then we'll start asking the question after we finish this one, who's the next group that we want to plan something for, and start talking about that. And then later on, March, April, we can bring out the facilities, long-range facilities study. And that's it for that. There's just a lot of upcoming topics, and please be mindful about topics. If we add too many, we'll have to focus on the strategic plan, getting ready for this year and finishing. And we have to start having a conversation about next year's strategic plan. Do we need to make some changes? So that will be coming up as well. So try not to add any more time. And now item B, budget
Can I
committee.
ask a quick question?
Oh, certainly.
Is there a place that I can pre-read the integrated plan?
Yes. Yes.
Because you know, I like to read all those.
Okay. It's.
So if you want to send it to me,
50 pages long? Yeah.
yeah, nighttime reading.
I may give you the hard copy because that's easier.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
and it's pretty.
Is it?
Okay.
Okay, great.
I would love to copy. I don't care if it's pretty.
Okay.
Christy and I are book mates at night.
Are you talking about the guidance?
Yes, the guidance,
Yeah,
yeah.
the guidance, not, we don't have the plan.
Yeah, all the, yeah,
Right.
the guidance.
I was like, but what we have to approve. Stop off.
I knew she did.
Sorry. No.
Sorry about that. I knew what you. Okay. All right, so, highlights, announce, budget committee. Positions 2, 3, and 4, terms ended June 30, 2022. New 3-year terms, July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2025. Position 7, term ended June 30, 2021, remains open. Term ending June 30th, 2024. Employees can't be on the budget committee. That would be great. Talk to parents, talk to the people that you know that could be who can bring different perspectives to the budget committee, who has an interest, recruit, and then ask them if they want to substitute. and everything else. That's the only job in education. Well, yeah, so please recruit people for the budget. Please be thinking about that. Let people know. Do you have to vote to declare those positions? Do we need a motion on that? The budget committee? Linda?
No, we do not.
Just wanted to check. We just needed to declare them open publicly. Okay, thank you. And then I sent, we gave you one last memo about the vice training with Bill De La Cruz. You want to take a look at that? And if you have any questions about that, we'll read it for the audience. On January 4th, Bill De La Cruz returned to the NMSD to do follow-up training and coaching with staff related to cultural responsiveness, bias awareness, and conflict resolution. Bill met with a variety of groups, including all secondary staff, all elementary staff, secondary building leaders, elementary building leaders, and central office leaders. His workshops have centered on connecting the following big ideas and how we might practice strategies in these areas to help to build cultures of belonging, inclusiveness, and positive, productive relationships. Lesson 1 is on personal bias. We all have them, and it's important for us to be aware of our biases. That's what we learned. Lesson 2 was conflict styles, becoming aware of our individual styles of interaction when our understandings don't align. And then lesson 3 was, what do you do about that? How do you resolve conflicts when you're sensing them and feeling them? And learn strategies for productive action when in conflict, and how to leverage shared interest while moving through steps towards resolution. Next steps, leaders will conduct follow-up activities with their staff, and Bill will meet virtually with leaders to consider the format and content for his next visit. We look forward to continuing to move this work forward as it is central to the mission, vision, and goals in our strategic plan. It's when all of us have the ability to have the lens of our biases in front of us, and we know we're in an uncomfortable situation, or something doesn't feel right or feels different, and we know that we have a bias, we have an experience or perception about something. And when there's a conflict emerging, if we understand our style of conflict and how we deal with conflict and how others interact with us in a conflict mode, then apply a strategy to that and thinking about, wow, okay, so what are some ways in conflict resolution that we can identify what the problem is together, talk about our interest in them and what we're trying to accomplish, and then work through that process. When all those things can happen, we can create that environment that we want. Kids need to learn conflict resolution skills. We need to be able to model them, be able to do that. And when we do that, we're creating that environment that we want. It's culturally responsive because we don't make assumptions about anybody, and we always question and ask and talk about it. When conflicts arise and kids have interactions, we immediately have a way in which to help them understand how they interact with each other and teach them how to understand a common interest, common way in which to look at something, to build that together. And when our staff can do that, when students have a problem in class and they're not talking with each other, then they can learn how to do that. When that happens, we're creating that environment where everyone can thrive. So that's where we are in that process right now, and we look forward to the next training. Any questions?
So studying ice hockey is not profitable.
The ice hockey method of problem solving. You skate softly and carry a big stick. Yeah, that was really funny. You know, in the physics of that, I just keep thinking that can't hurt. You know, because you can't really throw a punch and you can't really land a punch. And, you know, equal opposite, yeah. Newtonian physics. Oh, never mind. Okay. All right, well, I believe that's all I have. Nothing else for me to talk about, is there?
Does anybody have anything else? I have a couple of things. I think we have 3 positions open Here on the board coming up. If you want to, later on, I think paperwork is due in March.
Yeah.
March is the first or second Friday in March or Thursday, it's usually day specific. So those are coming up with an election, obviously, in May. I want to say thank you for you guys showing gratitude. Sometimes this is a thankless job, but I really appreciate the kudos you guys do too. And it is a very thankless job, but I really appreciate the kudos that you gave us and actually it's really an honor to help out as we can. So,
One last thing,
yeah, I saw those on the thing.
do you have your copies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are printed out and I will start doing community visits with these, sharing them out. I will go to the city council meetings locally, I will go to the Rotary, the Lions, those kinds of things, and share this information out so people can see it. Distributing them in our local businesses and the participants and all that sort of thing. So we're looking for that coming up.
And one more clarification for me, it's Ricardo and Christie and then Richard. And you guys are working independently, so I don't need to get myself involved, or do I?
He's talking about
So
the.
the primary with her making the presentation now, I mean, I can, direct traffic, if you want to, but, with three of us, we should keep it three because.
Yeah.
Regulations, so, if you guys can interface with Ginger and then probably it'd be nice to have a report back. And some details, as to what you're doing. And, sort of that interaction, with the community that may not interact with the board very much. So that's really important work, and it really fits in with our strategic plan and the board being more involved in community relations, so, yeah. With that, we're at the end of our agenda, so 8:07, I guess I will adjourn, and thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.